Hey everybody. So I'm gonna do a little story time. It's a beautiful day in May here in New York, and been having a lot of time to just like reflect and think. And I remembered an awesome story that I had tucked away, so I decided I'm gonna make a video and share it. The story is about this little plate right here, kind of. It says, it's probably backwards, but it says, "Call to me and I will answer you." Jeremiah 3:3. So this plate is beyond special to me. I'm not a materialistic person, and this is probably one of the most meaningful things that I have. So it all began in 2011, shortly after my father-in-law passed away. He passed away tragically on a fishing trip due to a heart issue. And it was really, really hard. Me and my husband were living with him, like at the time. So when somebody in your home dies, there's a lot of changes, and it's really weird and it's really tough to go from having them there every day and all their stuff there every day to just having them not there anymore and having to deal with all of that. So it was a really difficult time in our lives to be without him and to deal with the next step of how everything goes. So, it was hard for me, but he wasn't my dad, imagine it being, your actual father. It's tough. So it was really, really tough on my husband, too. So I wanted to do something special for him and nice for him, but it's hard to soothe somebody who's newly, freshly grieving. Especially with like a material item or whatever, but like, you do what you can. Absolutely sending gifts and flowers and food and words of wisdom and, taking them out, obviously does help. It's better than not having anybody, but it still doesn't fill the void, So anyway, one day he was out at work and I was like, I have to do something for him. Like, I have to get him something significantly meaningful. Just to help him know that his dad is still trying to communicate with him and, still watching over him and that kind of stuff. And it's funny, a little detour to the story, but a few days, after it was like the day that he died, everybody gathered at his mom's house, my husband's grandma's house. And I was sitting on the edge of the mountain just looking out into the sky, and I was like, please, like, show me that you're okay. Show me, you're still here and that things are going to be okay. And I looked up the sky, and one single raindrop fell and hit me in the head, and I'll never forget it. Like, I felt it, and I was like, what? And I touched my hand, and I was like, whoa. And it was like a beautiful, clear day, like no rain at all. So that was bizarre. And the even more bizarre part was the next morning, we were laying there sleeping, and I woke up to his voice shaking me, screaming, "What the hell am I going to do with all this food?" And I was like, what? And I like, shut up, because I heard him. And then I'm like, no, he's not here anymore. Like, I just heard and felt him say, what am I going to do with all this food? And then I hear footsteps coming in the front door, and it's my mother-in-law and brother-in-law walking in with trays and trays of food. And I was just like, holy shit. I'm like, he's still here. I just heard him. And I don't think he knows he's dead. He's at his house, alive, thinking he's alive, saying, what am I going to do with this food? And it was just shocking. absolutely shocking. So anyway, back to the main part of the story. So I'm like sitting there. This was probably like a month after he passed away, maybe. My husband was at work, and like, I have to get him something, just to like, something meaningful. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to like the religious store and look around there and see if there's something there that just calls out to me. So I drive there and they're closed. And I was like, come on. Like, I was on a mission, and I'm like, I was feeling it, and I was just like, damn, they're closed. Now what do I do? So I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to head back home. So I'm driving, and then I look up and I notice like a thrift store that I've always wanted to go into, but I've never went into. And this place was like 3 or 4 stories high. So, so I pull over and I go in there, and there was so much stuff there. So many things. I was in there for 2 hours just looking around, and I'm like, there's got to be something here. There's got to be something important here, And 2 hours later, like, I found nothing. Like, nothing. And I was like, damn it. Like, I can't believe there's not one single significant thing here. Like, nothing. Like, damn it. So I'm like, all right, it's getting late. I'm gonna head out. So I was at the top floor at this point, and I'm walking down the stairs, and then I walk down the next flight of stairs, and as I'm about to like go down the next flight of stairs, I see this from across the room, like sticking out at me, like a freaking heavenly light just shining on it, popping out. And I couldn't really see it well, but like it was just like, wah. And I was just like, it was like a magnet pulling me towards it. So I went, and I saw it, and I was like, this is it. I'm like, this is it. This is perfect. Call to me, and I will answer you, God or his dad, like whoever, showing that they're there. And I'm like, oh my God, 333, that is my favorite number. 3 threes, so powerful, so cool. So I'm like, perfect, this is it. So I was so excited, and I got it, and I gave it to my husband, and he thought it was nice. Obviously, it didn't, completely fill the void like I was trying to do at the time, but nothing really does. So, so he goes, oh, he's like, his name's Jeremy, and he's like, my dad wanted to name me Jeremiah, but him and his and my mom decided on Jeremy instead. So I was like, oh wow, that's cool. And I went and or he went and he put it on the fireplace mantle next to his father's ashes, and it stayed there for a while, And a couple months later, I find out that I'm pregnant. So it was, really exciting and everything. And we were picking names, and he's like, what about Jeremiah? Jeremiah's a nice name. And I was like, it does have a nice ring to it. I'm like, my grandpa's name is Jerome, so it would be a nice, like, kind of like tribute name, like a family name. It's a strong name. And I'm like, okay, well, my dad's middle name is James, and my brother's middle name is James. So I'm like, let's name him Jeremiah James, and we'll call him JJ. And we're both happy with that, so that's what we did. And then, I have JJ, bring him home from the hospital, and then I'm going through some gifts that people got me, and there was, like, a cute little, like, angel thing. I'm like, oh, I'm going to put this on the fireplace. And I go to put it on the fireplace, and I had totally forgot about this, and then I remembered. And I'm like, Jeremiah. I'm like, it literally, the whole entire thing has such meaning now. Like, filled with meaning. So it was just like, it was like such a complete type of feeling. And, God, if you have kids, especially your first child, I know for me anyway, it is the deepest love that you will ever feel. Like, you think, like, having a partner is love or anything, but, like, I'm not saying go have kids to feel love, like, but, like, when you have a kid and, like, it's just, they just need you and love you and want you so bad. And it's just like the most fulfilling, nurturing bond you'll ever experience in your life. And it was so beautiful to me to have him. He's looking at me through the window right now. It's so funny. So yeah. And that's the story of this little meaningful dish plate thingy that I searched for hours. And so then, like, I think I'm going to tell a little bit extra about his dad and the story. So after I have JJ, it's probably like a month or two after I have JJ, and I'm a massage therapist, so I was working somewhere else, and I decided, like, I want to start building up my own private clientele too and doing in-home massages. So this girl that I work with was an acupuncturist, and we were trading. So she'd give me an acupuncture session, and I would give her a massage session. And one day she messaged me, and she worked at a chiropractor's office, and her boss was, like, pregnant and really needed a massage. So she's like, I want to get her a gift certificate. I'm like, okay. So we set everything up, and then I go, and I'm doing the massage for her. And, hold on. Can I help you, Jeremiah? Huh? Okay. Go ask Uncle to make you some pizza. I'm in the middle of a live video, okay? So anyway, I'm doing the massage, right? And then, like, 20 minutes in, she's like, all right. She's like, I've had enough. I have to say something. And I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, am I doing something wrong? And she's like, there's somebody here with us right now. And I was like, looking around, nobody's here. What? And she's like, it's like a father figure, kind of. She's like, did you lose, like, somebody close to you recently who is, like, a father figure? I'm like, my father-in-law, you know, passed away a few months ago. And she's like, it's him. He's here. She's like, he's been nagging at me this entire massage, and she's like, he is so persistent that I couldn't not say something. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, normally they'll leave me alone after a little while, but he really, really wants to say something to you. And I was just like, what? My jaw was dropped to the ground. Like, I've never had an experience like this in my life. Didn't go looking for it. Like, I was just, what? So she's like, do you have a son? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, he wants you to know that your son was a gift from him. And I was just like holding back tears at this point. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this lady who I never met before saying that he's here, like, my son's a gift from him, like, all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, all right, we'll talk more about this after the massage. I was like, okay. I was like, needless to say, I was just, like, so excited, could hardly concentrate. I'm like, so anyway, after the massage, she's like, I come from a very Catholic family. My parents are super religious. She's like, I don't really tell many people about, you know, my ability to communicate with the dead. She's like, but I can. She said a few years ago, she woke up in the middle of the night at like 4 a.m, and she saw an apparition of her grandfather standing there. And she, like, freaked out. And she was like, devil, get away from me. And he's like, sweetheart, it's me. And she's like, my grandfather's alive. You know, you're a devil. Get away from me. And that was it. And she woke up the next morning and found out her grandfather had passed away the night before at like 2:30 in the morning. And she was like, holy shit. Like, chills, right? She's like, holy shit. And then ever since then, she realized that she can see and communicate with the dead. But she's like, she's low-key about it. And, you know, she tries to tune it out or whatever. And she's like, she started talking. And I just remember looking into her eyes, like deep into her eyes. And I was like, those eyes look so familiar to me right now. And I was like, those eyes look exactly like Jeremy's uncle's eyes. Jeremy's my husband. I'm like, they look exactly like Jeremy's uncle's eyes. And then I looked even closer. I'm like, no. I'm like, they look like Jeremy's dad's eyes. And in that second, she freaking grabs her heart, looks me dead in the eyes, and she said, "It was a heart aneurysm." Just like that. I didn't tell her what happened. I didn't tell her anything. And she's like, "He wants you to know it was an aneurysm." And I was like, blown away. I was like, what is going on right now? And, like, you know, he was on a fishing trip and had a heart attack. But there was never, like, an autopsy or anything like that because, you know, he passed away. He clearly, you know, had a heart attack or whatever. And she's like, I told her that. And she's like, "He wants you to know it was an aneurysm." So I was like, wow. That is... I'm like, literally, I have the chills just talking about it. It was so weird. Like, it was like his eyes peering at me through her. It was wild. So then she was also saying, she's like, "I think your grandmother's here too." She's like, "If you want to come back and, like, you know, come back with your husband or whatever, like, you know, I don't even know how much I would charge, but, you know, I can, you know, pass some messages along for you or whatever." And, we came this close to going back, but my husband didn't want to. It was still too, like, painful and raw for him, so we never did. But it was insane. It was awesome. And, I wanted to share that story, you know, and it got me to thinking, like, this one time I had joined, like, a Christian Facebook mothers group, because, like, I love Jesus, and, you know, I love spirituality and, you know, cleansing, forgiveness, and renewal, and signs and miracles and messages, all that stuff. So then, like, somebody said that, like, they had lost a loved one, like, what should I do? I'm having a hard time. So innocent me, I'm like, oh, I have, like, you know, a picture of a loved one. Sometimes, like, I light a candle and I just, like, you know, say hi to them and I talk to them or whatever. And I got fucking chewed out in that group. "You can't talk to anyone besides Jesus. Like, you can't talk to your loved ones." I'm like, fuck you. Like, I didn't say that, but, like, I will fight you if you try to tell anybody that they can't communicate by saying a prayer or a message to their loved one because the Bible, which the government tampered with, says so. Like, no, give me a break. Like, if you're hurting and you lost a loved one, I don't care what religion you are, you're absolutely allowed to communicate with them because they're trying to communicate with you too, okay? And gosh, everything is controlled right now. You think the Bible is not a little tweaked and controlled? Like, yeah, there's truth in it, but yeah, there's also division and control in it too. So, just saying. But yeah, it was, let me end the story on a nicer note. It's, you know, they really are trying to communicate with us and give us signs through dreams and waking life, and it's beautiful, and I find it very, very healing. The love and connection and communication exists beyond the flesh. You know, our souls are eternal, and that's my story for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. Many blessings.